Yeah. Wake up with coffee and sports. Sunrise glow, listen coast to coast. A flow like you know.
Offensively, who made them? Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Sideline to sideline with plays to show. This network's got the spark.
When you put up 300 yards rushing against someone, that you got your butt whooped.
I feel like I would have liked to see Oregon, Ohio State in the semis, not the quarters. So I think some reseeding is probably where I would change. But
they're out of their mind. They're going to do this 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Here's the crazy.
I just can't take it.
Birds keep flying high, fans cheering loud, and one podcast moving through the crowd. Meaty Boyz brawling, no holds barred bout. This wire life never in doubt. Tune into the vibe.
That's my bold prediction for the show. Devin Booker in the next 3 years, he will be a Houston Rocket.
Because I still think Seth is still at the top of his game. I do. I think he's right there. Who knows? Maybe not this year, but one time soon. Why wouldn't we potentially see Seth and Roman? One more season, you know what I mean?
Tune in the vibe.
Guard on the mic tonight. News coming in left and right. Go better with the latest fight. Gene's got that insight tight. Champions rise and they fall. Wire to wire, got it all. Every move in every brawl. Tune in for the curtain call. Wrestling talk all night long. Catch the latest match and song. Ring the bell, let's get it on. Every story bright and strong. In the ring they clash and roar. New rivalries and so much more. Titles change and legends lore.
What's poppin', y'all? It is your boy, Guard E3, and welcome back to the Meaty Boyz podcast. And, of course, joining me just like every week, he is the greatest co-host of all time. He is Mo Better. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, what's good, Brett? Hey, what's good, chat? Let's talk some wrestling.
Before we talk a little bit of wrestling, quick NBA little news. It looks like Kyrie Irving has declined his player option and it signed a 3-year, $119 million extension to stay with the Dallas Mavericks. So
Nice.
good for Kyrie. But, we'll talk more about that on Thursday. It's going to be a great episode on Thursday. We're going to have the NBA draft. But today, Mo, why don't we start off with a little bit of a more fun thing that I saw. So, WWE 2K, 25 is out. And one thing that I love, it's almost like if we had an underrated wrestler of the week, this guy would easily be a candidate. Mo, they added Abyss in there, and I just wanted to shout out Abyss, the TNA legend.
Did they?
Yeah, they gave him his original TNA music, and they gave him the spiked bat or the spiked 2x4 and everything.
Every time I see Abyss, he kind of reminds me of like a cross between Taker and Kane, but similar but not quite similar.
Oh, Abyss was so good. He was so much fun. What ended up killing almost Abyss at the time, and the fact that hey, what's poppin', David? Thank you for tuning in. Watching from Texas. That's awesome.
Hey, what's good, David?
Say, what kind of killed the Abyss character, it felt like, is when they decided to bring in Hogan and Bischoff. First they started that awful Abyssomania where all of a sudden Hulk, Abyss wanted to be just like Hulk Hogan. And he gave him his Hall of Fame ring, which was supposed to give him magical powers. And they just started doing all this wacky, crazy stuff with him, which just didn't work. And I'm so glad he kind of found his niche as a producer with WWE. he came out and appreciated all the love he's been getting lately, reaffirmed that he is retired from the ring. But man, he was such a great talent just his entire time in TNA.
Look, there's a lot of guys that get lost in time. Abyss was one of the most exciting, entertaining. Love the character. He for me, I had the same feel for Abyss that I had for a guy back in the day, Barry Windham. I thought Barry Windham was underappreciated.
No, absolutely. So, you know, I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But why don't we kind of start with the question that's almost seemingly on everybody's mind, Mo. Obviously, this Saturday is WWE Night of Champions. Now, there's some tension over in the Middle East right now. Obviously, the cast has to fly out to Saudi Arabia to conduct a show. My question is really simple, Mo. Are you part of the group that thinks that, you know, they'll be fine over there, or do you think that they should move the show out of Saudi Arabia for now?
With everything that's going on, yes, I think they should move the show back to the States. If you're not going to go back to the States, then move it to London, but just move it out of the danger zone. Take no chances with anyone's lives. I think there is a danger. There's a real danger of the unknown, and you have to take that serious. And I know a lot of the superstars, they seem like they're going and they're committed. Maybe I'm just more concerned than they are. In the bigger picture, while I would love to see the show, we can see the same great show here in the States. I wouldn't risk lives. That's the bottom line for me. I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, I think they'll go over there, and I'm sure nothing will go wrong. But, you know, I'm with you on that. I'm just, you know, of course, concerned just for the safety and well-being of all the superstars. And I know they're going to end up going over there, so I'm just hoping that everybody, you know, is happy and healthy and just everything goes well and according to plan. Thank you, Stephanie, for tuning in. CM Punk's hometown of Chicago, Illinois.
Awesome.
Well, speaking of Mr. Punk, I figure we'd, start there. Last Friday, over the couple weeks, I said once we saw Cena vs. Truth, I thought they might recreate the pipe bomb, Mo, and they did. They recreated CM Punk's pipe bomb. But this time it was John Cena dropping the pipe bomb on CM Punk. What do you think? What did you think about that whole segment with Punk, Truth, and Cena?
Look, for all the true wrestling fans out there, if you don't know about the pipe bomb, I would go on YouTube, look up CM Punk pipe bomb. You can see the video. It is a classic. But I know this might sound like recency bias, Brett, but I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. I think Cena's was as good or better. Cena's just gifted. He sold it, and he was saying a lot of the quiet things out loud. Some of the things are so obvious when he was like, "You're not a man of the people." He's like, "You're a millionaire," which is all true. You know, the persona is like CM Punk is like this struggling guy and he's with the rest of us, but he is a millionaire. Like, Cena kept it a buck. It made his pipe bomb that much better. I thought it was an awesome promo.
I thought that was absolutely terrific. And there was just so many things in there. Like, there was that. There was him saying, "You're not against the establishment. You're Mr. TKO."
Right.
That was great. And I love it, too. He even did the little fourth wall break. If we remember back in 2011 when CM Punk did, he looked at the camera and waved at it and went, "Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing?"
Right.
John Cena, "Hey, Claudio Castagnoli, Nick Nemeth, Matt Cardona, how are you guys doing?" So, like, I thought it was a perfect parody of the pipe bomb, and I thought that was maybe the most terrific thing that they could have done.
No, they did it so well. And like you said, when you break the fourth wall like that, you have to do it in a certain way. John Cena is just a natural. He just did it in a certain way. the perfect parody. Like everything else that happened the rest of the night couldn't compare to that. It was irrelevant compared to that.
No, absolutely. I want John Cena gone, CM Punk for Universal Champion. I'm sure Punk will get his chance soon enough.
He will. He'll definitely get a chance.
He's getting his chance, in a week at Night of Champions. But I thought that whole segment between them was just the most terrific thing that they could have done. And honestly, a lot of people might not like to hear this too, but I think that the John Cena heel turn has gone exceptionally well since WrestleMania.
And I think he's gotten better and better at it, though, right?
That's what it feels like. Just him and the whole reign in general just has gotten better once we got away. People are like, well, once they got away from Cody, I don't think you got away from Cody as much as you got away from The Rock and Travis Scott.
Right.
Once the reign became all about John Cena, it got exponentially better. Once the outside factors were taken out of the equation, this heel turn has gone so much better. It started off shaky, but now, especially with the work he's done with Punk, it's really starting to find its legs. And it's almost gone from when's he going to turn face? So now, hey, maybe he should stay heel until his final day. He's starting to really find his rhythm.
Kind of feels that way. I felt like over the last few weeks, John Cena has really embraced the role and gotten better and better and better. And the culmination was the Pipe Bomb remix. It was, I watched, I don't know about you, but I've watched it at least 5 or 6 times.
No, absolutely. As soon as he grabbed the mic and sit on the top rope, I was like, if he starts this out by saying, as you lay there, as you uncomfortably as you possibly can be, I'm going to lose it. And then he did exactly that. I'm like, oh, here we go. Yeah, it is absolutely terrific. No, I wanted to give John Cena his props for kind of starting to, turn the heel turn around. So
thank you, Rock, for staying out the way.
Yeah. Don't say that, Mo. He'll think that he'll see the angle getting hot again and be like, you know what this needs? A little electricity, brother.
Right.
Saying in some other news, Mo, it sounds like that, and it looks like that they are indeed just with the Liv Morgan injury. She'll be out a while. It looks like they're just going to plug Roxanne right into the tag team for a tag team title match. You want CM Punk also for Universal Championship? Well, he can try this Saturday. We'll definitely talk about that match a little later.
He's got a shot.
But, it looks like they're going to slide Roxanne right into, the role that, Liv was. Now, I think it'll be interesting. Do you think that they'll just kind of almost recreate the, Dom and Liv stuff, but with Dom and Rox? And because I think they might, but I think this just might be the tipping point where instead of, just turning on Liv too, he might just stick around with Liv when she comes back. But I'm curious, where do you think this goes? Would you want to see almost like a rehash of what they've done now, with the Liv Dom stuff with Roxanne and Dom?
Because before she was injured, you could tell that Roxanne was working her way through the channels of the Judgment Day, right? And it looked like she was kicking Liv's back in, right? It was coming, right? And then so the injury just sped things up, but it could change the storyline. I thought it was going to be Roxanne kind of flirting with Dom, and Dom has no loyalties. He would eventually choose Roxanne over Liv, but now that Liv's had the injury, I'm not sure he goes that way. I do think that Roxanne sliding into Liv's spot, I think they will keep the tag team titles. I just think that if Liv is ready to come back, they're probably going to say something to Liv to the effect of, things are going good. We don't really need you to slide back. Because I feel Liv is going to get booted out of the Judgment Day. I do. I think it was coming anyway. The only question was Dom going to roll with her or roll over her?
And you know what? Mo? Can we just see the vision already too? Liv gets kicked out of the Judgment Day. It's 2-on-1. Roxanne, and Raquel. Mo, who's feuding with Raquel right now? Oh, that's Rhea Ripley. Is this how we get the tag team of Liv and Rhea to, because they did tag for a little bit. So is this how we get the reuniting of Liv and Rhea, of going back to, maybe not being friends, but being allies again?
Be successful frenemies. Yeah, look, I can see them getting a tag team together and a love-hate tag team, but winning because they're both motivated to try and destroy the Judgment Day. I don't think it happens right away, but I think you're onto something. I think that's exactly how it's going to play out over time. What I don't want is they can do all those things and it can play out the way we think it plays out. I don't want them to turn Liv into a face. She's not a good face. She's terrific as a heel. Don't ruin that.
I do think they sometimes have a bad habit of seeing people cheering somebody like, oh, we got to turn him face.
Right.
And I think the problem isn't necessarily that they turn him face, is they almost try to turn him into like a cookie cutter, like baby face, almost like a parody of who they once were.
Right.
So like I wouldn't mind them wooing a Liv, like maybe not a full face turn, but she'd probably just be like a perfect tweener. But if you are going to turn her face, just continue to let her do like Liv things. And
right.
That's all I'm asking. We've seen it too many times where somebody, gets turned face and all of a sudden they have to be smiling and kissing babies. And
right. The beauty of Stone Cold is that he always walked that gray line. So yeah, I think he's a face, but he was still going after faces. He was like Stone Cold went after everybody, so he wasn't really a face. He was like a heel who was capable of being nice, but he was still, you know what I mean? Like, and I think Liv can live in that gray area where she can, they just let her still be Liv, it'll work. But if you turn them the way they've turned Tiffy, what they've done with Tiffy, where they've made her a complete face, and I think they're wasting her ability and her mic skills, because when she's a heel, her mic skills are much better. I don't like the current version of her because I think they're holding her back. But yeah, if they let Liv stay in that gray area where she can work both sides, I think it'll work fine.
So, by the way, I did see you welcome Damien. 3 weeks till Goldberg gets a hernia.
He might already have one, Damien.
Yeah, Goldberg is just interesting. Watching him. Yeah, I think Finn and Liv both leave the Judgment Day at some point. It's just interesting with Goldberg, because he decides to just completely lash out at the people just doubting him. And the funny part was his defense of getting a title shot. Like, I don't even think that's anything he needed to necessarily address. But for him to come out and say, like, I went 176-0, I don't need to stand in a line. Mo, that was the funniest response he could have given.
I want to keep it 100. If that's true, and he went 176-0, that's the problem right there. WCW made you into this like weird, almost Superman kind of guy that was unbeatable, even though most of your matches lasted like 5 minutes. So I for him to go, I don't have to wait. Like, dude, you've been retired for a minute, and you're not like in peak form. You are in fact an old man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm disappointed is if they let him beat Gunther, I'm going to be very upset. Very upset. That is a tough sell for me. I don't see how he could possibly beat Gunther. Gunther's in his prime, and Goldberg is a shell of Goldberg. He's not even physically as big and as powerful as he was in his prime. He's a lot smaller. Like, I'm not even sure he could execute a jackhammer.
The funny part about that winning streak, too, is Mo, wasn't that just the most juiced winning streak of all time?
100%.
Like, you would see him, like, on one Nitro, and he's, like, 20-0. The next one, he's, like, 34-0. And you're just like, where the fuck do you get all these wins from? Oh, he wrestled at house shows. Like, you wrestled at, like, 14 house shows in a week? Like,
Yeah, they're just literally just skipping numbers. Like he went from 55 wins to here comes Bill Goldberg to the ring 73-0. Like, okay, got you.
Like, I do love the story of the win streak, and I thought that was fantastic, but just this watching them always just seemingly juice the numbers at last week was just every week was just the funniest thing ever.
That's one of the mistakes of WCW. Say what you want, wrestling isn't perfect, but you can sell me on somebody seemingly invincible, at least losing every now and then. So it's more realistic. Like The Undertaker seemingly was unbeatable, but even Taker could lose.
Let's see, I was just watching North Texas wrestling last week. It was so great. Hey, fair enough. I always love watching old promotions and, my local indie stuff whenever I can. Oh, Damien, do not speak that into existence because that would be terrible.
What did he say? What?
Hate to see this, but I see Goldberg winning the title and facing Cena in a title for title match.
Oh God, no! Don't be right. Don't be right.
You better be wrong.
Yeah, be really wrong, Damien. That's rough.
I think Cena can still have a good match. I think he's shown that at this point, but he needs like a certain opponent to either bring it out with some just nostalgia. And if it's not nostalgia, he needs somebody to really bring it out with youth and athleticism, just to kind of, carry him a little through the match. Goldberg just provides neither of those. Like, there's no history to build on. There's whatever the opposite of youth and nostalgia is, youth is, that's just Goldberg. Like,
yeah,
that would genuinely...
A Goldberg Cena match would be the opposite of youth. It'd be old men and Ben Gay. Like nobody wants to see that.
Oh, if that match went longer than like 3 minutes, something would have gone horribly wrong.
Although I think CM Punk and John Cena can sell you with nostalgia, right? They have history. They've got a relationship. I think they're going to put on a really good match. I truly believe that.
CM Punk and Cena is going to be great. Like, those two, they can go like probably a solid 15, 20 minutes, and it would be entertaining the entire time. So I'm excited for that. I think they can go a while. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Gunther,
you know what? Let me throw something out there real quick. Let's say Goldberg and Gunther wrestle. You know, and I know it's going to be a 5-minute match tops, right? Goldberg wins, jackhammer power, and Steph cashes in and beats Goldberg. I'm actually okay with that. If it happens like that, I can take it. But if he just out and out beat Gunther and walks away the champion, yeah, I got a problem with that.
Oh, you know what? Listen, I think that there's going to be a cash-in, Mo. I am absolutely going to make sure the entire internet and everybody is at peak annoyed before Seth cashes in. So, Mo, we're cashing that in on Monday. We're going to make it seem like Goldberg's going to walk away and have a decent title.
Right.
And then Seth's just going to cash in on Monday.
Because
so
Goldberg wins, and he starts walking up the aisle celebrating. Spear by Braun Breaker. You know what I'm saying? And then Seth cashes in. It's not a match. It's a massacre.
Actually,
maybe 3 or 4 tsunamis. Yeah.
I actually see the match lasting 3 minutes at least. I mean, between 3 to 5 minutes is a sweet spot for Gunther versus Goldberg.
For sure.
And anything over that, you're probably just going to need to airlift Gunther out of the arena. Like, it's just over at that point. Like, it's funny because I respect, Goldberg for stepping into that ring and doing what he did for all these years. But at the same time, I can't say I'm excited, especially when my first appearance of seeing Goldberg return to confront Gunther is him, like, completely sweating and out of breath walking to the ring, and it looks like he had trouble climbing the ropes. I'm like, I at the end of the day, when it comes to legends like Goldberg, you don't really want, the image of, these legends who did, pave the way and do what they did for the business to be a negative one.
Right.
And that's my concern with Goldberg. You got newer wrestling fans. They're not going to know about the guy from 1998. They're going to know about the guy that returned in like 2015. And that's to me the problem.
Or the guy that limped down to the ring on Monday night. Like he does
Right.
he does the MMA kick, then right after the MMA kick, he must have pulled something because he limped to the ring. Come on, man. It's a tough sell.
Right. And at the end of they're not going to remember matches with guys like Diamond Dallas Page, which was probably his best match. They're going to remember. They're going to remember, like, do you remember when he, beat the Fiend for the title or wrestled the Undertaker? They're going to remember those disaster classes, and that is the exact opposite. It's like the worst fear of watching some of your favorite superstars come to life. I remember that was my fear watching the Undertaker wrestle all those years after, like 2014. Because I'm just watching, like, come on, Taker, please retire while, the newer generation still has a good match catalog of yours.
You know what, though? Just when I thought he couldn't give you another banger, he pulled another one out. Like, but you're right. You want him to leave on that high note. Like, okay, that you pulled off one, go away to the sunset. No, I remember how dominant Goldberg was. I got to see that. But the guy that limped to the ring last Monday, that's not Goldberg. That's not the one that I remember.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's all I want from the match. Like, I don't expect it to be great, but all I want is for it to be something Goldberg is proud of that he can walk away on a high note from. If that happens, I don't care what people think if it's a 3, 4, 2-star match. Like, if it's happy enough for Goldberg to get the conclusion he wants for his career in his retirement match, it is good enough for me.
My only question is, how did he swing that? Like, what kind of power does he wield, or how many favors did he get to make this happen? You retired. You come out of nowhere, and you get a title match? For what?
Apparently it was a Triple H call to take the title off Jay to put it on Gunther to make it a title match, which to me it's weird because you don't need to make Goldberg's retirement match a title match to make it feel special. Like,
No.
That's the thing, right? Like, with or without the title, that's not even going to be a talking point. It's just going to be all about Goldberg. I think what they did right is make this match in Atlanta because that crowd's going to be absolutely feral for Goldberg. They're going to love it.
For sure.
So I think they did that part right, but I'm okay with, giving Gunther another title reign. It just seeing a report says that, they took the title off Jay just to make this match a title match. I'm just like, but that also just kind of makes it predictable is the problem. So, like, did we really need the title involved in this one?
That is the problem for me. We knew when Jay won at Mania that Jay wasn't going to have a year-long run, that he was going to be a transitional champion. But to take it off of him so that you can glorify Goldberg's last match, I'm not liking that. I'm liking it less that the guy who beat Jay, who I think is one of the great champions in the WWE, you're going to make it to where Goldberg beats him? Like, I don't like that either. Like, to me, if Goldberg wants to go out the way they used to do back in the day, you put over the next guy. And don't get me wrong, obviously Gunther walks into the ring the champion. He should walk out the ring the champion.
No, absolutely. And, I would almost do like a sort of thing where what if, like, because we've seen obviously the teases of like Gunther, a potential Gunther like face turn. Now, Gunther's a guy I would more so make a tweener. But, like, what if you solidified that Gunther, like, face turner just kind of being a good guy using Goldberg? Like, Gunther chokes out Goldberg. Seth's new group comes out, teasing a cash in. Goldberg helps fight him off. Gunther, raises Goldberg's hand and shows him some respect. I think that'd be a great story. I think, it'd be a nice little catalyst for a Gunther face turn. And And you'd give, Goldberg his big moment.
And that kind of storyline, I think that's an easier sell for the wrestling universe, where Goldberg gets his flowers for all that he's done by Gunther raising his hand. Maybe they give each other a respectful nod, and he leaves the ring.
Oh, absolutely. I think gonna catch up on the comments real quick. I think Jade Cargill and Asuka will be good. I think Jade's made a lot of strides in the ring in the past couple months, and Asuka could probably put on a good match with me if I stepped in the ring, and I've never wrestled a day of my life. So, she's just such a terrific talent.
She is. And the NFL Genius said, we had disagreed this morning. The NFL Genius, Gene, thinks Asuka beats Jade Cargill, so the build-up, so it could be Asuka versus Io. I'm going to go the other way. I don't think Asuka beats Jade Cargill. I don't. By the way, I'm not sure. I don't think Jade's going to beat Io either. But I think she does. I think Jade does beat Asuka. The only way Asuka beats Jade Cargill is if Naomi interferes.
Yeah, and you know what? That's almost why I think that Gene might be right with that one. I think Naomi will get involved. Just Asuka versus Io it sounds like the match for, SummerSlam. Would be a great SummerSlam match. At the end of the day, I think, Naomi getting involved would be a great way to get to that point, because you can protect Jade by having her lose thanks to Naomi interfering, and then we can get the continuation of Naomi versus Jade, and we can get Io versus Asuka. So that's the beauty of this match, though. It could genuinely go either way, because if Jade just straight up beat Asuka, I wouldn't be surprised either. Because, you can go the other way. Jade goes on, faces Io for the title, wins, Naomi cashes on Jade at SummerSlam.
She will. She will.
Yeah, so it's almost, that's the beauty of that match. It could go either way.
Let me ask you this. The match between Cody and Jey Uso, not that it ended the way it ended, did it throw you off that basically 2 of the last 3 weeks, Jey Uso's just straight lost? No shenanigans, no nothing. He just straight lost.
It is weird after seeing him, get the push that he's gotten. All of a sudden,
right, that's what I'm saying. That's weird. He just straight lost 2 times in a row.
No, absolutely. At the end of the day, you saw it coming, but it's still kind of, is surprising after the strong push that he's gotten. But I am looking forward to seeing what they do with Jay. I still think reuniting the Usos and getting them back in the tag team title hunt
I like that too.
Is going to be great, because there's 2 dream matches just sitting there whenever they want them. The Motor City Machine Guns and the Lucha Brothers. So, and the thing about dream matches is you want to capitalize on them while you have them. So, I want an LA Knight match at Night of Champions. Well, I don't think we're getting LA Knight at Night of Champions.
Thank God.
My boy Mo here, he is not a big LA Knight fan.
No, he's literally what you get when you take Macho Man Randy Savage and you send him to a beauty salon to get his hair done. You get LA Knight.
I don't see Seth cashing out on Goldberg or Gunther, because it wouldn't make sense when he has a feud with Punk. I mean,
he does, but I would disagree. Seth's mission isn't his feud with Punk. His mission is to be the champion.
No, absolutely. I want Goldberg and Gunther to be a match, because Gunther was disrespectful. Yeah, Gunther did disrespect Goldberg back there a couple months ago in front of his family. Gunther needs his butt kicked. I think the reason WWE gave Goldberg the title match was because of what happened in Saudi with The Undertaker. Was originally meant to be his retirement match. But he had 4 matches after that. He had the match against Dolph Ziggler. He had a match against Roman Reigns. He had 2 matches against Bobby Lashley. I would have loved if he retired in 2019 after that Dolph Ziggler match. Because, like, to me, Dolph Ziggler match was like the closest you ever got post like WrestleMania 33 of recapturing that Goldberg magic because of how phenomenal Dolph Ziggler was at selling that beatdown.
Great
Like, to me,
performer.
that was the closest that we ever got to like really just truly recreating the magic post, the Brock Lesnar feud.
The closest thing you're going to get to prime Goldberg is if he and Gunther just did an arm wrestling match. I still think he could probably win that. But in the ring, Gunther's going to have to do he's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting to carry Goldberg, even for 5 minutes.
No, yeah. Say Asuka needs the title match way more than Jade, plus Jade isn't ready to be in a main title picture yet.
Ooh,
okay. Hey, I could see them going like the US or Intercontinental title route with her, but yeah, she might just need some more seasoning, and I think the more seasoning that she needs is she needs like a manager. Her mic skills.
Yes.
Her mic skills as a face are the most awkward thing ever. She's a lot more natural as a heel, as we kind of saw when she was a heel in AEW. But like face Jade mic skills are, for lack of a better term, just brutal at times.
They're robotic and stiff. The reality is this: Jade's much better as a heel. She's a natural heel. Her mic skills as a heel are fluid. They're natural. They're closer to her personality. I do agree that Jade Cargill needs more seasoning, right, as an in-ring performer. And she does need an advocate. She needs a mouthpiece. She needs a Paul Heyman or somebody of that nature, because if you're going to keep her a face, you need somebody to be that advocate for her, because she's just not great on the mic.
No, absolutely. Speaking of the Motor City Machine Guns, where are they at? I want them to have a tag team title opportunity. I would love for them to get another tag title opportunity. I think they're just sitting in catering right now, waiting for their next creative direction. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the Guns, and when we do reunite the Usos, I'm really hoping that's one of the first matchups they have in mind. Because at the end of the day, watching those two in TNA, and you never thought they'd finally make it over to WWE, and now that they're here, you're just kind of like, yeah. Motor City Machine Guns versus Lucha Brothers and Usos, and they still have yet to have a match with the New Day, and you're just sitting here like,
oh God, I forgot about the New Day.
there's so many great matches for them to have, so I hope they're not on the sidelines for long.
Somebody take the belts off the New Day, please.
I agree with that. I say people might hate me for this, but taking the title off of Jay was the right choice. Nothing against Jay. I think he's a good wrestler, but in my opinion, Jay isn't ready to be a top guy yet. I still feel like he is missing something.
I think that's a yes and no. I think he's proven he's more than a mid-card guy, but when you start going up into that next level stratosphere with Rollins and Reigns and Punk and Rhodes, I feel like Jay is kind of in between them in the higher end mid card. Like, I think he can compete on that level, but I don't think he can stay in that lane for an extended period of time. I think where Jay can excel and still get the crowd connection that he's enjoyed for this push is what you said, Brett. Re-teaming up with Jimmy and going to war in the tag team division and winning the tag team belts eventually. I think they would elevate the whole tag team division all over again.
For like lack of a better term, because to compare, like, to kind of put it in NBA terms, which kind of makes sense to me. To me, your John Cena and CM Punks, those are your like all NBA talents. Those are your main eventers, top tier. To me, Jey Uso's in that like all-star, like fringe all NBA category where he can step up and be like a main eventer, but he's not really consistently there with the other guys.
So
like,
is he Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, he's like that like Jaylen Brown caliber player where he can step up and do it for stretches, and you acknowledge how good he is, but you're never gonna say, yeah, Jaylen Brown's as good as like a Giannis or a Jokic.
Right.
He'll be all NBA third team at times. So to me, that's kind of where Jay is. He's like that fringe all NBA guy, all-star caliber guy.
I love your comp, partner. Keep cooking. I love your comp.
Say the only thing I like about Detroit, other than Eminem, the Motor City Machine, no, I completely agree. I hope they get out of catering soon. But speaking of Night of Champions, Mo, why don't we have a little fun? We go through the card and we pick a winner.
Let's do it.
Speaking of getting out of catering, it feels like Karrion Kross has been on our TV screens forever. But I feel like I've seen him every week, but this feels like it's his first match all year.
Right.
But we got Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. This, by the way, and of course, AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio is off of Night of Champions. Apparently, Dominic is injured. So it seems like this is the replacement match for it. So, Mo, who do you think? Is it going to be Kross or Sami Zayn?
I think it's going to be a great match, actually. I think Karrion Kross is going to put on a great performance. But it feels like they're getting ready to give Sami Zayn a really big push. And I think this match is the start of Sami going on a deeper run. So I'm going to take Sami Zayn for the win.
I think he's going to win too. I think that they're doing this whole Karrion Kross thing to kind of tease a Sami Zayn heel turn. And whether they go that route or not, because everybody that Karrion Kross feuds with eventually just turns. So I think they're going to tease it with Sami, and whether they go that route or not, I think this is actually an interesting feud for Sami to have, because now it kind of sprinkles in doubt, because you do remember, everybody that Kross comes in contact with, they seem to turn heel.
Correct.
So now you're sitting there in the back of your head like, Sami, are you going to turn as well? But I do think that Sami Zayn wins this one. But it will be interesting to see the further character development that he has in the coming weeks after this.
Great.
AJ Styles screws Kross over. We'll see. That could be it too. Obviously, Kross got involved in AJ's WrestleMania match. So I could see, AJ wanting to get his revenge on Kross. So that could be a thing. How about... I think that we'll agree on this one. United States Championship, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa.
So this is an interesting one, because initially I thought, well, Fatu's going to win. It'll be a great match because Solo's a little more polished. But then I thought, well, Solo's going to obviously have some shenanigans, right? He's going to have Mateo come down, I'm sure, and get involved. This is a tough one to call. I don't know what they're doing with Jacob Fatu, because part of me thinks they're getting ready to make this huge push and take him to a whole nother level. But then at the same time, I feel like he's got the United States Championship, so to slow down his pace. I don't think they're in a rush to put him up there with the Reigns and the Rollins of people of that nature. So if he's going to dominate the mid-card or be in the mid-card, he's going to have somebody that he can feud with. So I'm going to say Solo wins. He steals the belt.
You know what's funny? I would actually probably very much enjoy that. I think, it's funny. I know he hasn't been with the company that long and he hasn't had the U.S. title that long, but one, obviously that'd be shocking if Fatu lost the title this early, but at the same time, it would allow him to move up to the main event picture. And I think he's already more than ready for that. When it comes to Triple H, I think the biggest reason I'm picking Fatu is we know that Triple H loves his long title reigns. But also, I think that's why it would make your idea so much fun, is if you just randomly buck the trend, especially with somebody like Fatu, where we're sitting here this guy's holding it for another 300 days. And if he lost it 2 months later, I know people would complain, but at the same time, I think that'd be a really fun idea. I'm still picking Fatu, but I love the idea of Solo winning.
Well, we already know who's going to really complain a lot, Rikishi. Rikishi's got a lot to say. But look, it could go either way. I think you're right. Fatu could win, and he might go on a great U.S. title run, which I wouldn't have a problem with if he's a dominant U.S. title holder for a year or so. I'm okay with that as long as they put up competitors that bring out the best in him. I'm here for it. But if he loses, to your point, that means they're going to catapult him up to the main event section with Rollins and Reigns and people of that nature, and that's going to be interesting too. But I feel like Triple H doesn't want to rush that. So you might be right. He might find a way to win and hold onto the belt for a little bit longer.
Say Solo wins with the help of Hiccolo. Oh, Hiccolo has been wrestling on main event for the last couple weeks, so we're starting to see the emergence of a potential new Bloodline member. Say this storyline just going to go on for the end of time. But yeah, no. So that will be interesting. Say we got Rhea Ripley versus Raquel in a street fight. This is another one that I think that could go either way. I know the instinct is pick, Rhea, but you know what? I think Raquel very well could win with the help of Roxanne to keep that story alive.
The only way Raquel is going to win is with help. Let's start there. So, but could she win? Yes. If the Prodigy gets involved and helps her out, which don't put it past her, she's already done it before. That could happen. But anything outside of that, Rhea's going to mop the floor with her. So I do think there's going to be some interference of some kind to extend or make it a great match and give Roxanne a real chance to, or Raquel a chance to win. I'm going to pick Raquel in an upset because I think you sold me on them making that into more of a feud.
Yeah, I think the idea that kind of mentioning earlier of maybe trying to keep the rivalry alive for a bit until Liv can come back, and then doing this whole frenemies thing with Liv and Rhea, I think that's going to be too tempting for Triple H to pass up.
Yeah,
I could. Yeah, see, yeah, I'm going to go with Raquel, and it looks like Damien agrees too.
Yeah,
I think I could see Stephanie Vakir saving Rhea. That could happen too.
Ooh.
Say set up a Stephanie versus Rhea match, maybe for Evolution 2. So I'm gonna go with Raquel, but Rhea's always a safe bet to win. So say Queen of the Ring tournament finals, Asuka versus Jade. I'm gonna go Asuka.
I think it's a great match. I think Asuka wins, but she gets some help.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's gonna be like Naomi getting involved and costing Bianca or costing Jade this match. Now this one's interesting to me. Cody Rhodes versus I almost said CM Punk. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I think this is interesting, but I think the answer here is I think this one's actually probably one of the more predictable matches because I feel like the answer is just Cody.
I'm with you, even though Orton threw out something that I think most of us already knew. It would give him the opportunity to win his 15th. But my gut feeling is, as great as he's been, I think Randy Orton's going to be stuck on 15. He might win some other belts. I don't know if he's ever going to be the world champion again. I'm going to go Cody. I think this is the most obvious outcome because I think they're setting Cody up for a bigger match down the road. So I'm going to go Cody.
Yeah, and it feels like the only way, kind of Damien just guessed Orton and Cody turns heel at SummerSlam. I feel like the only way for Orton to I think the only other solution I could see, Mo, is maybe like a shady finish where they both get counted out and we run a triple threat match at SummerSlam with Cena, Orton, and Cody. But it really feels like that somehow. It's just this this is going to end up with a Cody Rhodes SummerSlam match. And I think that this is going to be much better than WrestleMania. Because, once again, I think the build's going to be, this time it'll be just about them. And I think that's huge.
Partner, here's the thing. If it plays out that way, I think this time around between Cena and Cody, Cody turns heel. I think Cody turns heel. I think this might be when Cena starts to, I don't know, become more the old John Cena, if you will.
I would love it. I would love it, honestly. And of course, Mo, the main event of the evening. John Cena, CM Punk, one last time. What do you think happens here?
I think it's going to be an intense match. I think it's going to be a banger, though. I think they are going to pull out all the stops. I think Cena finds a way to win. Do I think he wins with a straight, clean pin? No, I think there'll be some dubious stuff happening, but John Cena gets the win.
And I completely agree with that. I would love to see, Punk win. Punk's always been one of my favorites, but
mine too.
I don't see John Cena losing until either A, the rematch with Cody, or B, let's just drag this out till his last date. So
yeah, real talk.
So I really do not see Cena losing anytime before SummerSlam. By the way, did you see the other fun news that we had? Cena wins, R-Truth attacks Cena, Seth cashes in.
I like that. Damian, you're onto something. That's not bad. Except I feel like because, you have to have a balance between your heels and your faces. I feel like if Seth's going to cash in, it's going to be on the other belt. It won't be on Cena's.
No, like if he's going to cash in, it'll probably be when Cena loses it.
Well, yes, maybe that way, but I don't think if he gets a chance to, I don't know, curb stomp Goldberg and take the belt, he'll take that belt too. Like, I'm just saying, I feel like Steph is one of the great opportunists in wrestling history, and he's got a crew around him too. You know how this goes. If he sees an opportunity, there's going to be a spear, a couple of tsunamis, and then him and Heyman are going to come walking down to the ring.
That almost feels like it. That gives me an idea, Mo. What if he does cash in on the Gunther or Goldberg wins the title, and then we get it almost feels like you could still loop Punk back into like a triple threat at SummerSlam, like
for sure, yes.
Like Seth Rollins versus Gunther versus CM Punk at SummerSlam would be a terrific match to have.
I would sign up for that. I would watch that.
Hey, I'll say it seems like that too. My favorite wrestler of all time, The Undertaker, it looks like he has an interest in joining the creative team.
Okay, Taker. Okay.
Which means Gunther is probably going to have a 3,000-day title reign. The Undertaker absolutely loves Gunther.
You know what though, with Taker as part of creative, I think he'll give Triple H some pushback on some ideas. I think you need a little bit more balance there. Look, Triple H more times than not recently he's gotten it right. But he's whiffed here and there, but he's gotten it right more times than not. So we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, for me, because you are heading towards SummerSlam, how you tell a story matters to us, the fans, and the story has to be something that we can look at and go, yes, that makes sense. I can see that happening. So I guess bottom line, you're going to have a clearer picture of what SummerSlam is going to look like with the outcome of the Gunther Goldberg match and the aftermath of that.
Yeah, so we'll kind of, it feels like we're going to start shaping up SummerSlam in like 3 weeks once we get to that whole weekend with, Saturday night's main event and Evolution 2. I think that will shape up a decent amount of the SummerSlam card, especially with it being the first 2 night SummerSlam. So they'll need to fill up both of those cards. Say, I am curious too with Evolution. What's Nikki Bella going to be doing? Because it seemed pretty clear that we were getting, Liv versus Nikki, or maybe Liv and Raquel versus the Bellas.
Right, we were right.
It looked like we're getting some variation of a Liv versus Nikki match. So, do you just switch it? Is it now going to be okay? Maybe we still reunite the Bellas, or against Roxanne and Raquel, or I wonder. I'm curious. What do you think happens with Nikki Bella at Evolution 2?
So here's the thing about the Bellas, if you remember them. I'm just talking about from start to the end. They were maybe the last, I guess, how can I say it? They were the last group of female wrestlers who were wrestlers, but they were more divas than wrestlers, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you look at where the women's division is now, I would find it a hard sell that the Bellas could beat Roxanne Perez and Raquel. I don't know. Unless someone helps them, there's no way they could pull that off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe with the injury to Liv, I don't know. Maybe at that point, then maybe just. You could maybe just run Nikki versus Roxanne, and if Roxanne wins, you can have Raquel help her, or have Brie run out to help Nikki. If Raquel gets involved and Brie wins, I feel like almost at this point, if Liv's out of the picture, then maybe give Nikki a one-on-one match, but make sure I think Roxanne would be a great opponent too, because Nikki's been out of the ring for a while. At the end of the day, I think you're going to have to give her a good dance partner to get the best match out of her, and
yeah,
Roxanne can really turn it up when she needs to.
She can, but it's because of that reason that she can turn it up the way she can turn it up. That seems such a mismatch. That seems like such a mismatch. I get it. She would carry Nikki, but it's a tough sell for, I guess, the fan that you would think, I think Nikki can beat her. I don't see how she can beat her. I don't see how that's even a close match. It just, they're on different levels. And to be honest, one's not even in her prime yet, and the other is on the other side of her prime, if we're being honest.
No, absolutely. And it's going to be fun too. There's going to be so many other matches that I'm curious about. If there's one wrestling card where I hope, Triple H goes over his normal 5 to 6 match card, it's Evolution 2. Because I think a 7-8 match card for Evolution would be perfect. You can balance out, the newer school wrestlers and giving some respect to these older school wrestlers.
I like that.
So, you got the Bellas back. Maybe you can sneak in maybe a Michelle McCool for a match, or a visit.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be dope. Bring in maybe Trish Stratus too, right?
Yeah. And
that would be dope. You could do that.
I would love Evolution 2 to almost be changing of the guard to help, get a lot of these newer wrestlers over.
Even better. I like that, to where it would come out like a changing of the guard. And especially because the older wrestlers, they've been there, done it. It'd be nice to see them kind of get their flowers while at the same time handing it off to the next generation. I like that. I like that idea completely.
Absolutely. It'd be fun to watch Michelle McCool challenge for the women's U.S. title, and that's Julia, and they have a great match, but Michelle puts Julia over. And you can still have a couple of your legends win, but yeah, seeing a card where a majority of the legends are there to help get these younger ladies over would be absolutely just 10 out of 10.
Julia's no joke. There's so much talent coming up from NXT. It's insane. You just mentioned Julia. Roxanne Perez is the truth. And then you've got Stephanie Vaquero. There's so much talent in the women's division. It's insane.
Yeah, and then obviously we just had Mariah May or Blake Monroe debut in NXT.
Yes.
I've loved her in NXT so far. She is just so funny. She got put through a table in her first appearance, but it was terrific. Everybody, joked about her say she's almost got like a pop like star girly, like doing a lot of the stuff you saw like from like the Sabrina Carpenter tour, and
Okay.
I think it's absolutely been great. Better question: Cena, Punk, MJF, whose pipe bomb was better? Ooh, that's tough. It's tough because MJF's was just so fantastic.
I didn't see MJF's, I'll be honest. But I did see Punk's, and obviously I saw Cena's.
Oh my gosh, MJF's was so great because he this was during a time where he was going to be a free agent the next year, and he had just lost to Wardlow the night before, and it was after like a really crazy weekend of reports of him, not getting on his flight, skipping his flight, rumors he was going to no-show the pay-per-view over a money dispute, but he showed up, he lost to Wardlow. Then he comes out the next day and he cuts his own pipe bomb where he tells everybody, how great he is in the ring, even though the crowd doesn't think he is half the time. He turns his attention to Tony Khan and says he can't pay me because he's hoarding all of his money for the next ex-WWE guy. Would you like me more if I was an ex-WWE guy?
Oh, I like that.
And then he proceeded to tell Tony Khan he shouldn't be running a wrestling business. He should be sitting behind the guardrail with all the fans. And he ends up screaming into the camera to end it off, "I want you to fire me, you effing Mark." And he just starts yelling, fire me," into the camera. It was so perfect because he delivered it with such passion. And the fact that there was already reports that there was a lot of Warner Brothers executives there. So it was almost like you wouldn't expect him to use some of the language he did and to go after Tony Khan, especially with the Warner Brothers executives there. But no, he went nuts. And it was absolutely, undoubtedly, maybe the best work of his entire career. And that's saying a lot for MJF. Blake Monroe still sucks as a name. I definitely, if you personally, I'm biased. I like the Punk one, but I think also that's just a classic. But if nobody's ever seen the MJF one, definitely advise to go look that one up. It is a terrific piece of work. But Mo, that's all the time we got. We're over an hour.
Oh, it went so fast. See, when you're chopping it up and you're really getting into it, talking wrestling, the chat is live. Damian with so many great comments and questions. Appreciate you, man. Make sure you come back. All I can say is thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Join me, the NFL Genius, tomorrow. Coffee Sports in the morning, 9 a.m. We appreciate you.
Yeah, David, Stephanie, this is obviously first time seeing you guys in the chat. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you. We hope to see you back next week. We're normally on Tuesdays around 8 o'clock-ish. Sometimes we get a little bit of a later start like tonight. That's okay, but, we're on Tuesdays around the same time every week. Would love to see you guys back. And, of course, next time you see me and Mo together, Thursday, the N1 podcast. We got a lot to talk about. Got Game 7 of the NBA Finals to talk about. We got a Kevin Durant trade finally happened. We got a lot of trades that are happening. We got a
NBA draft.
Extension. The draft will have happened the opening night.
Oh yeah.
So it will be an action-packed episode of the And One podcast. And maybe one of these weeks, Mo, Carmike will stop ducking us.
If she would just extend his curfew, that's all.
We'll have to ask her to extend his curfew to 10 o'clock. But like I said, thank you everybody for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week, and enjoy the rest of your night.